Hi everybody, my name is Dennis and welcome back to another album review. Today we're reviewing the debut album from experimental rock group Black Midi, entitled Schlagenheim. Now, I heard a few of the singles coming up into this, and I definitely got the feeling this was going to be a strange album. But what I wasn't anticipating is how phenomenal it would end up being. There is so much densely packed instrumentals across the entire thing. And that's even in songs like Western that are over 8 minutes. And it's a relatively short album in the number of tracks, but it does add up to a decent amount of time because many of these tracks go over the 5-6 minute marks. And it ends up being a decent length of an album, even if there are only 9 songs on it. And each of these songs offers a very unique experience, oftentimes with unsettling, loud, fast guitar riffs, some really amazing drumming, some picking that's really aggressive, fast-paced, anxious, and vocals that are very long and drawn out and almost unsettling at times. And eventually it even goes into screaming. A couple of times on the album it just goes into nonsensical babbling, blah 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 blah. And I mean, that's not even an exaggeration, that's what it goes into. But oftentimes when he goes into these nonsensical spurts, we are also faced with these very dense, noisy, just bombarding instrumentals that just leave so much to hear. There is so much amazing drum work. There's some really unique chord progressions, a really great guitar work on this album. The guitars on this, whether it be an electric guitar or even acoustic at times, or the bass line on it, are always just top notch. There is absolutely nothing wrong with any of the instrumentals on this album, in my opinion. From the opening track 953, we get this absolutely amazingly catchy, energizing, and uplifting guitar riff to it that only gets more energetic, and it just draws you into it as the song goes on. And even though the song doesn't have very many vocals in it, it's almost entirely instrumental, that's okay, because the instrumentals slowly evolve throughout the entire thing, where they're still similar to how they are at the start, but it's constantly changing tiny things, just tweaking, adding, maybe changing the tempo or the tone of the song in these slight ways, just to make it that much more interesting and just engaging to the listener. And from there, it transitions beautifully into the song Speedway, which has a much more soft tone compared to the song 953, especially at the beginning. It does get more aggressive towards the end of the track, but it starts off with this much more mellow guitar picking to it, where we have a much more much stronger vocal performance, not necessarily in the quality, but just in the presence of it. There's a lot more vocals on this song, and again, they are very distant, they're very unsettling, and it's a really well done atmosphere, I have to say. The song Speedway was absolutely beautifully done. Once again, I love the progression of the instrumentals through it. It comes off as really unique. It's very out there. It's very unlike anything I've ever heard before. And that transitions into the song Reggae, which once again starts off relatively soft, but it very quickly picks up the pace. And it eventually becomes more and more loud and distorted and noisy and messy and grimy. And I do really love it, because just this, once again, this progression into this really fun, catchy, yet very strange and unsettling sounds, it really does make for a beautifully enjoyable experience. And at the end, again, we have this much more high up aggressive tone to the music, and that transitions into the song Near Detroit, Michigan, where it does start off relatively soft, and this is one of the shorter cuts on the album. It's less than 3 minutes long, but it quickly turns into this very hard, heavy rock song that has the first time we really get some truly powerful screams in here from our lead singer. And my goodness, the scream vocals are absolutely phenomenal on this album. They could not have been done better. They merge beautifully with, once again, the very noisy and heavily distorted guitars, the spastic and energetic drumming that goes into it, and it just makes this unique feeling where you have so much going on, yet everything seems calm and unsettling, yet there's so much energy and anger and frustration, and it just boils down into this beautifully contrasting experience of peace, yet we also have complete anarchy at the same time, and it's really phenomenal. The song Western is the longest cut on here. It's the only track to reach 8 minutes. It starts off once again very soft, and it does have a rather slow progression through it, but it almost is like a roller coaster at times, going through these soft lows to these aggressive highs, these soft lows, these aggressive highs throughout the song. And this keeps it really fresh and keeps you you don't know what to expect from this song the first time you hear it, because it just goes all over the place, yet it's never feels like it's jumping around too quickly. It always transitions very smoothly. It always transitions in a very easygoing way, for as easygoing as this music can go, but it goes together in a way that's just phenomenal. It doesn't feel like a random jump cut that's distracting more than it is pleasant. It's really beautifully done. The transitions throughout this song are absolutely phenomenal. I think the guitar work, once again, every single song has beautifully unique guitar work done on it. The picking, the chord progression, they are so similar yet so vastly different from song to song, to where it creates this beautifully cohesive project, yet it still feels like you get a completely new experience out of every single track on here. The song of Schlagenheim, which is as close to a title track as you can get from this thing, once again has this very contrasting experience of mellow and noisy, where once again it does start off kind of noisy at times, but it does eventually go down into a more settled down position. It's almost hard to keep track of this song a lot of times, because it just goes all over the place, of at times feeling like near silence, to other points just being bombastically loud, and I cannot get enough of it. It is really amazing. Every single instrument on this song is beautifully handled. The transitions, the eeriness, the amazing atmospheric nature of both this and Western, I must say. They both have an absolutely amazing, anxious, anxiety-inducing atmosphere that is very difficult to convey through music, while still making it oftentimes really fun and catchy. The song, I don't know if it goes BM 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 or if it's bum bum bum, but I will admit I wasn't a huge fan of this song. I do love the bass line of this. It has the heaviest bass guitar across the entire album, and the bass line is absolutely phenomenal. I guess I do wish there was a bit more diversity instrumentally from this track. Again, many of the other songs on here have these beautiful instrumental evolutions that transition from sound to sound, from style to style, often going through these angry, nonsensical babblings down into these gentle yet creepy and unsettling moments throughout the album. While this song just kind of stays in one place for most of it, I also thought the vocals and lyrics were a bit goofy on this song, and it did get kind of distracting at times, I must say. So I can forgive the instrumentals, because even if there wasn't a lot of diversity, what they did have was absolutely amazing. But really what brought this song down for me is the really goofy, really goofy vocals, you know? It just sounded silly, and I wasn't looking for anything silly from this album, because there's nothing else that really feels all that. Again, it doesn't feel silly until this song, which makes it feel kind of out of place at times. It's not a bad song by any means. It's just there are elements to this that I really wasn't a huge fan of. Oh, she has purpose. The way he says the word purpose, I don't know, something about the way he says purpose, purpose. It just sounds so weird to me, and I just couldn't get over it. And it wasn't the good kind of weird like the rest of this album brings, of this weirdly unique experience. It was uncomfortably weird, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. However, the next song, Years Ago, is absolutely phenomenal. It starts off very, very quiet, very soft, and it quickly, I think, actually not quickly, but about midway through this song, it just breaks out into these heavy, angry, distorted vocals, unlike anything we've seen on the album thus far, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love the vocals on this song. They are one of the best vocal performances across the entire album. I love the instrumentals. Once again, I don't want to repeat myself over and over again, but the guitar work is, oh my god, amazing. So moving on from there, we have the song Ducter, which starts off very funky and groovy with its guitar work, and very quickly becomes something much more uncomfortable and unsettling, and I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Where it becomes this very low, soft, creepy atmosphere, and it once again quickly divulges into this loud, noisy, nonsensical babbling to conclude the album in an absolutely grandiose fashion. They concluded the album beautifully, and I loved it to death. This album is phenomenal. I could listen to it over and over again, and again, even though I wasn't a fan of the one song, it still had its great moments to it, and every other song on this album is absolutely phenomenal. It's definitely not for everyone. It's strange, it's abstract, it's weird, but that's a lot of the charm behind it, is just how incredibly unique everything about it is. So with all that being said, I'm feeling a solid 9 on this. Definitely check it out. Even if you're not a fan of experimental music, there are some legitimately catchy moments on here, especially on the opening cuts, 953 and Speedway. Please at least give these songs a chance. If you don't like them, that's okay. This type of music is not for everyone. I would definitely call it an acquired taste. But oh my goodness, this is absolutely phenomenal. It's easily one of the best albums so far this year. So, with all that being said, if you check this album out, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Be sure to tell me how wrong my opinion is as always, and I'll see you in the next review.